But members see more views, you know, Pelosi.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to call her now. I know.
All right, guys, we're back. It's episode number 51.
Mm-hmm.
JP, we're here.
Welcome back.
We got some cool guests on tonight. We're going to dive into a very popular and unpopular topic, depending on who you are. To me, I love it. I can't get enough of it. I want to hear more about it. These guys know a lot more about it than I do. And we're going to kind of just dive into QAnon.
Perfect.
Welcome back to the podcast, Angelita.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's so good to be back. Good to see you guys again.
Yeah, good to see you too. And when we have GodSentMEdia, Chris on.
How are we doing?
Right, huh? GodSentMEdia?
Yeah, GodSentMedia, yeah.
Awesome. So we got a new member of the Woke Wolf Pack in our squad, and he's got an awesome take on a lot of things and very passionate. We watched a video with you earlier that Angelita sent, and it was very passionate and got me all pumped up, ready to take on the
Yeah, Chris has got a lot of people pumped up.
Yeah, he's got a pretty big following.
Yeah, a lot of censorship too. That's the beauty of it.
The Whole Foods videos had a lot of people fired up.
Oh man, there have been a few good ones. There's definitely been a few
good ones. You've had some good ones, and you know, I mean, I live in Los Angeles on the west side. Like, you know, I don't want to get too specific, but let's just say it's really masky side.
For sure.
And
the masky side.
So
the muzzle side.
Yes, the muzzle side. I do wear. Yeah. I went mask free into the market once, and I totally got harassed by customers. That's who it is, right? It's by other customers, and it felt so good to do it. But I also, like I have been wearing my mask to go into the store. Like, it basically, if it's like if I have to wear it to get into somewhere, and I say have to loosely because I know that your have to is not the same. But my daughter doesn't wear one, and I haven't. And so that's kind of where I've just been like, whatever, like as long as she doesn't have to wear one, then
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I'm also like, I'm a rebel for not wearing it while I walk my dog in my neighborhood.
I love it. Good for you. Hopefully you have your dog pee on the Biden signs if there are any.
Not so many.
Raise a leg. Hopefully you have a male dog on top.
There's a lot of hate.
Although I don't want to assume any identities here, so got to be careful these days with all this hypocrisy.
Where you at, JP? I'm very, very anti-Joe Biden. I'm actually I have a second podcast, and I do some prank calls on there. And the last 48 hours of free time I've been working on a really elaborate prank that I'm doing with Joe Biden sound bites. And I've been sending them out, and I'm like, Jesus, this guy has so much crap that he said that I could just upload all this, and it's funny. It's so ridiculous how much shit this guy has said. And
isn't it incredible?
President, it's ridiculous.
Like literally incredible. And the beauty is that nobody takes how quickly does a web search engine like Metacrawl, like 0.0005 seconds? Nobody takes that little amount of time to actually do constructive research, and yet they walk around pointing the finger at Trump for being a racist, where there's literally nothing available. And I just uploaded a video of him like nominating everybody to be the first black this, first black that. Like, I don't see color, but everybody is focusing on color these days with this stupid BLM movement.
Right.
The point I'm making is that, again, to your point, like there is so much available that's sickening and ridiculous, and it makes you wonder, like, how do these people even function in society where they can take this hardline position to the point that they burn, loot, and murder, literally, right, over the fact that they're defending this position in the absolute face of, like, factual context. And it's not only things that he has said, but it's a position that he has taken further by creating policy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, following through with bills that have been, like, passed that really suppress and oppress the rights of blacks, like, specifically. It's absurd. It's like, I don't get it. Anyway, continue on. Sorry, I hijacked that, but I had to, had to get it out, man. It's
the thing that frustrates me the most about it is when I'll find like a good video to like really show Biden for who he is, and it's not a very long clip or anything. I'll share that, but then I share it, and I'm like, man, people that agree with me are gonna probably watch it or already have seen it, and then people who don't agree with me that are on Team Orange Man Bad, they don't watch this stuff. They refuse to acknowledge anything that is real, that discriminates the other side at all. It's just so frustrating. They're so hard-headed.
But what I try to remember that, like, the normal average person, like, because obviously, like, there's people that are not discussing QAnon. There's people that are not, they're just regular people. And, for instance, I'm from Michigan, and there's there's a guy that used to come into the bar that I worked at. He owned a couple of gyms, and since then he's acquired, now he has 6. Okay. He's just a, business owner. And when the COVID, he did not vote for Trump, was not a Trump supporter. He didn't have like the TDS where he was a psycho about it, but he wasn't a supporter. And then the COVID thing happened, and he was one of the first people to close down his gyms and do all that. He was like, okay, like, obviously like public safety, number one. And then he started to see, all the things that weren't adding up, and started to see Trump's, press briefings, and then how the news would cover it, how it would be so different from what he had said, and this is just a regular guy that's not going on like the dark web or going anywhere deep, just
right.
With what he's working with on the surface was like, whoa, this doesn't add up. And he's going to vote for Trump. Like, he opened his gym up in defiance of the governor. And
I love it.
He doesn't require masks. He's like, that's your choice. If you want to mask up, go for it. If you don't. Like, that's, because once he realized, like, once he had the truth, he was like, oh, that changes my course of action completely,
Beautiful.
And he's just a regular person.
That's cool.
And and I've had, I've had quite a few people that I've talked to that are very silent because of their job or whatever. And they're just not vocal. They're afraid to say, like who they support or what they support, but they're going to be voting for Trump, and they're voting for law and order.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, how do you guys feel? An offshoot. I don't hear anybody talking about this. How do you feel about people getting fired over their political beliefs? Like, I feel like that is a big weak spot in like our civil rights and civil liberties. Like, I feel like there should be a protected class. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I don't know. How do you guys feel about
when
that?
have we ever faced that in history before, right? Like, there's never been a time like this. This is
is more polarizing, but it still has never been protected. And I would say that this is not the first time. But it's like, it's like any other civil liberty, you're right. Like, I don't understand how, if we can protect getting fired at work because of sexual orientation, why not political affiliation? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous.
Food for thought.
Yeah, it should not be allowed. It's absolutely absurd.
But they've shifted the whole culture to prioritize those rights, right? Like, right now, like, that is a hypersensitive. Don't even touch that. Don't even infringe on that. Don't come for that.
Yep. Yeah, because the only reason you'd be coming for that is if you were on the non-BLM side right now, because that's where all of corporate America is and where all the compliance is. So anyone claiming that they're being oppressed as a function of their political beliefs is automatically a Trumper, right? Like an orange racist. And it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And what I love, and we touched upon this kind of briefly, is that with these, and I hate to say these people, but it's like a category, like they just approach you and they say, fuck you. Literally. I'll be here in Laguna with my flag. And like, all I say, you've probably seen my videos. All I literally say is, God bless you to everybody that passes. That's it. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. And like, they automatically roll past kids in the car. Fuck you. Middle fingers out. And like, I'm not speaking like this. They're speaking like this. So I'm just repeating. And, but again, you're either against them or you're with them and bowing down.
But their cause justifies all of that. It's okay because of their cause is. You know what I mean? Yep.
Absolutely. Which is wrong.
Crazy to me that the time that we're in is, I probably brought this up several times already, but I haven't talked to you guys about it. The American flag as a whole right now, like flag, my personal American flag for our front of our house, the bracket broke off. So I got to replace that so we can hang it back up. And I was thinking about that the other day when I put it up. People are going to automatically assume that I'm voting for Trump, which I am, but they're going to assume that I'm pro-Trump. Like, well, how is that the American thing, and what's the alternative? How the hell did we get so twisted that one candidate is the U.S. flag and the other one is something other bullshit? Like, we're in a dark time.
Well, that and the fact that there's one party that won't even acknowledge God as the founding basis for this country. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to be a Christian, but at the end of the day, one nation under God. You know what I'm saying? Like, sorry. Keep on going. One other thing.
No, I'm just saying that Biden said that, the thing. Instead
of the thing. God. Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable. But like, people won't acknowledge it in like city council meetings now. Like, it's ridiculous, and I don't even know. It's absolutely a spiritual battle right now. It really is. Like, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And it's extremely concerning. And the rhetoric that's being pushed on our children, and the children that have been mobilized, right? Like, this has been a 15-year going, like, psyop, honestly, of brainwashing kids to be conformist in school. And now they've been mobilized in truly for political means, but in like a militaristic fashion, right? And it's interesting because they took the kids and turned the rest of society against itself, right? Like through the children. And as a function of that, getting the parents to go on board, now you've got all the corporations going on board. And yeah, of course, there's some complicity at the top. But as it relates to the rest of like the median and lower subset, that's what's happened. And it's hard getting that back, as you say. And that's where you get the initial discussion where we started out, which is how do you get people back to center when they've gone so far left?
Well, it's so hard because you have well-meaning people. I have friends that they're not bad people. They're not out there, burning down buildings. They're like good
Correct.
moms and dads and hardworking Americans and all those things. And they think that they're doing their due diligence by reading whatever Apple News puts up for them on their phone that morning, tuning into their MSNBC or whatever it is. And they are staying informed. And so they think, okay, like they believe whatever it is that's fed to them, and then they're responding on that. And it's just sad because they're totally hijacked, like you said, brainwashed. Like they think that they're doing, the right thing.
Yeah, virtue signaling, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, so much.
I can only imagine how bad that is in the average like family household with a couple. Because my wife is the rock that holds my family together. We have 3 kids, and
likewise,
she does everything,
100%.
man. Like
God bless her.
Without her, my kids would fall apart. I'd fall apart. I'm a 4th kid for her.
The better 99.9%, as I say.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really exist that much.
She doesn't know anything about politics. Like I don't think she could pick Nancy Pelosi out of a lineup. It's like she has no knowledge of this stuff, and I try to educate her on it a little bit, and I'll give her like the basics of it, but it just doesn't really like click with her. And that's me being a freaking deep in the rabbit hole psychopath with this stuff. And I have so much this crap in my head on a daily basis. So if she had a husband that was like her and was kind of going through life doing it, I can only imagine how disconnected people can get to this stuff, man. And true. I know she doesn't really have the time to dig into stuff like I do because she's too busy taking care of us all. But so I don't give her too much grief on it because, like I said, she's the rock. But it blows my mind how much people can like disconnect to what's going on around us and who are all these people and all the key players and what they're doing and how much it's affecting our lives. It's crazy. It terrifies me having my kids in school too.
Yeah, I think one thing that's changed too is that they have changed up the game in terms of like the velocity and throughput of what's coming at us. And what I'm trying to communicate is that in order to stay up to speed, like really to stay up to like really current speed with what's going on, it takes a lot of time to invest, you know what I'm saying? And so in the midst of children, work, having to get groceries and gas and like going to return something, which takes 20 minutes one direction and the other, I mean, it's all consuming. Like I literally am getting 4 hours of sleep a day at most right now, answering messages constantly about this stuff. And like people need the hope, so it's necessary, but and the awareness and the awakening. But the point is that it's not so far-fetched for people not to be aware, because you go to the most likely source, which is Siri, whatever else it is, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a totally compromised source of information because it's skewed and absolutely biased and bought. But to go the extra step of really digging down and identifying like what the real issues are and then what the truths are therein takes a lot of work. So they have done this on purpose, and it's just a mass of just pushing as much as they can out to just confuse the shit out of people. That's just what it's been.
It is. It's all part of the weapon, man. The weapon.
Absolutely.
Look what you have to overcome to believe the truth, right? Like you have to overcome, criticism, and I mean, look at the way that, QAnon is written about. I mean, the last time I was on, I told you about that Huffington Post piece that they wrote from the Save the Children March. They had that printed and done before the march was even over. I mean, the girl that, you know, co-wrote the story was still at the march. So clearly they had someone back at the office. They clearly already had that thing typed up, got a couple of quotes with their narrative already ready to go. And it didn't matter what the story was. They already had it. And,
it was scripted.
Exactly. So they talk about QAnon like it's, you know, dangerous and all these things, which is so funny because they say dangerous with like nothing to support that. And follow it up with, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, if we were throwing Molotov cocktails and stuff at people, I would be like, you know, okay. But that's
out of everything I've seen, that was the most gut-wrenching one recently.
And you have to overcome all of these. Like, no, but the you know, the mainstream media, you know, says it's crazy. Like, it's just, you know, you have to be going completely against the grain on what appears to be on the surface, at least, because really, you know, to be like, okay, I buy into this, you know, and you have that cognitive dissonance that you have to overcome.
It's a tough one.
That's a tough one. That was
a real tough one. That's the worst.
I was in my bathrobe like for a week, like, no.
I love it.
And I voted for Trump in 2016.
Yep.
But I did not realize the magnitude of the situation. I didn't get it.
Yeah, no, me either. Me either. I mean, this is recent, honestly. I've never been involved in politics and whatever. Really not.
So how did you wake up?
I had this like infamous encounter here in Laguna with the police where the mayor turned them against the citizens, right? And so I spoke up for all this bullshit of the beaches being closed and whatever else after, as I call them, masked rangers went crazy in a local restaurant here. And so I wrote an email to Bob Whalen, the city of Laguna Beach, and like all city council, chief of police, everybody I know, saying, guys, time out here. You know, let's wake up. We're really doing our community a disservice. And so a couple of days later, long story short, they sent this guy after me and falsely stopped me, you know. And when that started going on, I was like, time out. And I'll give it to him. The first 2 weeks of this COVID bullshit, they had me. I thought the whole world was going to fucking disappear. I'll be the first to say it. Yep. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was out buying fucking food like a dumbass, wiping my shit down like an idiot. I know, but I'm just being honest, you know.
Rubber gloves. Yes.
Oh, the whole thing. I didn't go to the gloves, but I was, you know, my wife has like these little sanitizing towelettes.
That's how you act when there's a real virus. That's
for sure. Yeah,
we all saw the movie Outbreak, man. We know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I thought. I'm like, shit, people's heads are going to pop off, you know? Yeah. And then I was like, time the fuck out. I was watching the numbers. I have my MBA from Notre Dame, so I'm good with statistics. And I was starting to see some discrepancies in what was being reported. And also further than that, like, I was looking around me like, wait, nobody is fucking dying. I don't see hot, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so that was that. And I started going to these freedom rallies like you, except you was in the June or July, I think that one in LA. What is it, June? May? June? Something like that? Correct me.
June. I think it was June.
Something like, okay. I think it was just, I don't know, but they had a flyover.
It was before July.
Remember?
It was, no, you know, it could have been May, honestly. It was, I don't know.
It might have been, it was Memorial Day.
No, yes.
Because I was pissed and I was like, our fucking veterans are spinning in their fucking graves right now. Yeah, no. I was pissed because they had the flyover of those planes. That's why. But anyway.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it was that I started in April because my account blew up with this video of me telling off this Laguna Beach police officer. Blew up. Millions of views overnight. I mean, barrage messages constantly. Thank you for giving us hope. And this is where everybody was locked down. You know, it's like different than now where we see the fucking smoke and all the shit that's gone on. No, everybody like was really fucking afraid. And so long story short, it was going to these rallies and this oppression that I had then identified in terms of seeing everybody being taken advantage of. And like, that's what I want people to listen to in this. If I can make like one critical point is that I don't like so much people referring to those who are not awake as like the sheep in a derogatory sense, because these people have been taken advantage of, right? And we all have our areas where we're gifted and have our intuition, but like not everybody has the intuition. And so it's like up to us who are aware to stand up for those fucking people. And that's what mobilized me. I couldn't watch people being taken advantage of anymore. Like I couldn't. It was just preposterous seeing people. I mean, it's like, it's not just double speak. It's like quadruple speak of people touching the thing and the mask and the gloves. It makes literal no sense, right? And so I just started, and I started going to the rallies, freedom rallies, and that was that. And so since then, that's just, honestly, I'm not like some big religious nut. Like I absolutely believe in Jesus Christ and whatever else. But like, God has just been like working through me, and here I am, here we are, and in some weird way, it's you, and we met at a rally. So that is a long way of saying that's what got me started. It was just seeing people get taken advantage of, and, you know, me first recognizing it in myself, but they're like, hey, time out. I started seeing that it was just more than someone got duped for a freaking, you know, clean your driveway cleaner that the mail guy stopped and tried to sell you, right? Like, this is like my kids' rights. And we couldn't go to the beach anymore. They're being told to be muzzled and this and that. And like, time out here. And I started seeing the alarms going off. And like, I moved here from Europe, like honestly. So like my grandmother had to flee from the Nazis. And I see the warning bells. I see the warning signs, and it's very concerning. And so at one of these rallies, like I introduced this awesome lady, Victoria, about my age, and like we clicked, and she had a hat Q on. I'm like, fuck is Q? And at first I was like, oh, I don't believe this, because, you know, they had been going after it at the time, and I'm not one of these conspiracy theorists. And she's like, well, take a look. And I looked, and I was like, son of a bitch, they've known the whole time, you know. So that's it. Yeah,
interesting. You know what, that's one, I want to touch back on what you said about having compassion on people that are asleep or whatever. I couldn't agree more. And that's why I love the where we go one, we go all. Like,
exactly,
we'll drag your sleeping corpse with us, and you know what I mean, like over the freedom line, like, you know, where we go one, we go all. Okay, like I love that. And I feel the same way. Like I have, you know, friends that I love, like that haven't seen, like I have one girlfriend, she hasn't like seen her parents other than like a socially distanced in the yard, you know.
Absurd. I can't even fathom this lunacy.
In fear.
It's insane.
Like, total fear.
It's totally what they're propagating. It's
and
insane.
I was just like, they're, you know, she's like, I just can't wait till we can see each other, like give each other a hug when it's safe again. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like that's beautiful.
That is
that's crazy.
That's what we're fighting for right there.
Yeah. There's people, you know, I have friends that work in nursing homes and stuff. It's so sad what people are going through. And I guess that's kind of the part that I felt so frustrated with, is like people call us terrorists and all this stuff. And I'm like, our motto is where we go when we go out. I'm losing sleep over the children that are being abused on the daily with no, you know, respite in school, no relief, like no teachers, you know, trained eye to maybe catch something that's off with that person, or just for them to go and get a meal because there's not enough food in that house. And for the elderly people in the nursing homes, and the people that lost businesses and jobs and homes, the veteran that just committed suicide.
It's constant. It's absolutely constant. Like I was shooting film. I haven't had work since March.
And but the people are so quick to judge you if you're not like masked up from the floor up, you know, exactly. like if you're not doing these like couple of things and stuff, they're just like, oh, you're, you know, just the worst. And I'm like, but you never even have, so many people were never even a part of your conversation. Like you never even considered them in all of this. Like, absolutely. Just wear the mask and shut the fuck up.
Totally.
I think the Far Left has an incredible endorsement sponsorship deal with somebody. That's why they're so loyal to all these masks and the stupid ideology.
Well, that's easy. I mean, I posted that one today.
Uh-huh.
I said that one's easy. It's all tied to Newsom and Pelosi and China and BYD. Just like why wait? They had a $10 billion grant that they were given by the Chinese central bank. Mm-hmm. And they invested $6 billion of it here in the U.S. and lied about it to the Department of Justice. Lied about it. So they have taken over all of our infrastructure, and that's why Trump is going nuts over this shit. And why do you think their headquarters was on fire today, where their research lab for the 4G and 5G?
Ooh, I didn't even know about that. Yeah, neither did
I. Yeah. So everybody needs to wake the fuck up. And then Newsom in the interim, the mask deal that he did, the $1 billion mask deal, was with BYD, which is the company that loaned the money to Huawei. Like, are we all okay in the head here? And so it's all the connections that Pelosi has with China through her nice little nephew, Gruesome Newsom. Like, honestly, it's so easy to see. And he manipulated federal law as it relates to pandemics and skirting of liability as it relates to medical devices in order to get these things through under the radar. And in order to do that, there has to be an active threat of pandemic. So what is he doing? Falsifying all this bullshit in order to justify the masks, because otherwise he has no legal authority to sell them as it relates to liability and the statutory federal penal code. Like, I posted all of this shit. Like, they think we're all fucking stupid, and we're not. It's insane.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff to catch up on your content, because I just found you today from Angelita. But
well, it's all good. Like, I'm just saying, there's so much there, and that just goes back to the point we were making a few minutes ago, which is how do you stay on top of it? Like, I had to spend an entire night in the WikiLeaks file in order to find the letter from the Chinese government to Huawei, which stated that they gave them a $10 billion loan on projects that the government had the authority to approve solely. So the direct foreign investment, which Huawei made in the US, those projects were greenlit directly by the Chinese government. And they own all of our communications equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, is everybody asleep? So, yeah, it's a huge security threat. And that's why Trump has been going after them so bad.
The guy over your shoulder is watching you or listening to you.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
In any event, but it's just reality, you know? So in the meantime, Trump is a racist, and like Biden is not, apparently. I don't know, whatever. And Newsom is running around tyrannically running everybody out of the state, as we talked about, business closures and whatever. And that's the other thing that mobilized me. Like, what the fuck? We can't go to work? I mean, these are strict constitutional rights. And so can they be waived? Potentially, the Supreme Court found. But that's only so far as the threat is justified to put them aside. And so when the threat is not justified, then the mandates are absolutely unconstitutional, whether codified or not. So that's what got me going. And like, you know, I wasn't willing to yield to them. And obviously nobody was stopping me because I knew I was right. I know what my legal rights are. So there you go.
Well, now, what do you see in our future, say, after the election?
Bro, that, please. I am, I was actually just thinking this earlier today, and I would love for my Q friend to say something to it, because I had to stop today, and I was just like, am I fucking dreaming here? You know, because I see such a cataclysmic potentiality with all of this. There's just so much negative energy in society right now, and this I don't know if the expectation has been set, but like the standard has been set in terms of like what will and won't be allowed, and everything is being allowed, right? Like there are no repercussions for anything. I was here in Laguna Beach the other day. These BLM people literally knocked over a police officer on a bike. They did nothing about it. What did? They asked me, the guy with the American flag, to please go a little bit further away so these guys didn't antagonize me. So the point I'm trying to make is that where does it begin and end? They're being given full reign and autonomy to do what they want. And when people in Idaho are being arrested for singing in a parking lot, right? Mm-hmm. Worshiping Christ, and yet you have thousands of, I don't want to use the word because I don't want to get attacked, but thousands of BLM people in LA last night causing a scene and then running down a car that has been stopped unlawfully from being able to move forward, hunt it down and like beat the guy, and then that guy is arrested. Like, where does it begin and end? You see what I'm saying? So like, as to election, I don't know how certain polling places are going to be open. Forget even about the mail-in aspect. Let's not even go down that road. I'm just talking about like a social unrest. I think it's going to be a very interesting time, both before and after. What I can't speak to is what will or won't happen. But I'll tell you what, people aren't prepared for some sort of shortage, like lockdown, I don't know what. Like, they better wake up, because we've already seen it, and it doesn't take much. Like, look behind me. All it took before was a little yellow tape, and it shut down society. All they did, they just had to lie that we had a cold and it was going to kill us all. Honestly.
Yep.
Fucking insane. Faking tests. When have you heard, when people's heads are falling off and they're dying, that you need a federal, that you need the Federal Bureau of Investigation to open up a special task force to investigate COVID-related fraud as it relates to testing and everything else?
Yeah. That's they fake so much stuff, and it's, you know, just that kind of truth coming out, you think would just wake up so many people. Like if they're lying about that and they're lying about this, and it's just like it's all sham. It's pretty, anybody can figure that out. It's almost common sense at this point.
Common sense is a rare thing, and that's where I go back to, like, the sheep and the lion. Only a few of us are awake, and we'll wake up some more. But, you know, some people have their, this is where I'll speak freely, have their ass handed to them by God at 20. Some people have it happen at 11 years old, where some calamity happens with your parents, where they do weird shit, which my shirt saved the children about that. I won't go further. Or it happens when you're 60 years old and you wake up. The point is that everybody wakes up at a different, like, stage in life. And so there's not going to be some, like, mass event which wakes everybody up. But in the interim, it's up to, you know, that leading 0.1% to freaking try and lead the charge, because it is all in jeopardy right now. And I mean, our kids are being caged. The parents are doing nothing. The men were emasculated through this lockdown and the lack of being able to work and whatever else, not being able to stand up for their rights, all being done falsely. Then everybody's afraid to stand up once they even realize they're being duped, because, as she said, it comes down to cognitive dissonance. It's like literally the perfect storm. And, like, it's not by happenstance. This was all done on purpose, like, all done on purpose. So they've turned us against ourselves for political means and ends. And it's absolutely tasteless and disgusting, because I don't expect everybody to have the same political opinion. It's not what I advocate or what I think anybody advocates. But to take advantage of others falsely under false pretenses, like, that's just reprehensible behavior. And unfortunately, with a 45, 47, 48-year-old in-office candidate, right, like, you're just going to get more of the same. And here we are.
Mm-hmm. They have the nerve to make the QAnon society look like the bad guys right now, too, in the media and celebrity world. And then I just seen multiple celebrities posting stuff about when Ruth Bader died. Well, now that we're ruthless, we should be ruthless and burn the system down, all this kind of crap.
I've seen that one.
They replace Ruth, we burn everything. Like, what kind of mentality is that? It's like 2-year-olds with throwing temper tantrums. It's just so ridiculous. How can anybody respect that?
I exited my screen. Let me read this one while we're on this. My friend sent me this the other day, and I about just had a stroke that this rhetoric is being allowed out there. Come on. I have so much stuff on my phone. Oh, shit. I deleted it. So let's go to my Instagram. It was on Facebook, and come on. There it is. So it's on Facebook. So, like, in the spirit of talking about QAnon, right? Like, I'm literally being censored for videotaping. I'm being very literal about this, for going live, and I can't see myself, so hopefully I'm in frame, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter. Like, for videotaping, for going live at, like, these, like Saturate OC, like, worship sessions on the beach, etc., that kind of happened previously. And yet, this is allowed on freaking, on Facebook. This guy says, and we'll just say his name. His account name is Dark-Skinned Brother 131211. This aren't going to change. This aren't going to change till cops start winding up dead all over the place. 45 likes. Replies at Dark-Skinned Brother 311 from Refuse to Lose 7. Exactly. Next reply, Jason King, CEO. I've been saying the same thing, unfortunately. It will take that. 3 likes. Next one, Prince Celestial. That's why 2 pigs were roasted last night in Louisville. 9 likes. Jesus. Next one, Captain Spaulding account. More like it'll be your kind that dies. Next account. Captain Spaulding account. Well, better be glad there's cops there to protect your kind, because that's what we do. BLM ain't gonna, I can't even read this. Cox supporters, you'll wish there was cops. Like, I mean, they are inciting violence. There we go. Inciting violence and seeding it on purpose, because they are censoring, like, positive speak. Like, I haven't been to one rally where anybody has slandered anyone or done anything with whether QAnon or, like, a patriot-based thing. I don't even like referring to Q. Like, I just like Q because it's like a thought starter. That's what I see it as, like the posts and everything else. It's like, there's the tip. So who, what, where, like if you look on YouTube, Q Matrix, it's like a hierarchical matrix of like who, what, where, when, why. And it's like degrees of, it's like orders of importance and like, you know, questions based like that. And so it just, it doesn't say things for people. It just, it forces them to look down and see what, like look at what's being said and look at the links, right? And like do their own research. And so that's in like the spirit of truth and objective dialogue. It's like, who is against that? Who is against objectivity? Who is against truth? Who is against liberty and freedom and justice? And like, as it relates to liberty and freedom, I'm talking about like medical liberty, like liberty to life, right? And like happiness and work. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And nobody's being oppressed. Welcome everyone. I don't see any rallies where they're like, aren't like blacks or Asians or, you know, like Moroccans or freaking Russians. So why slander it? Why? Because it goes against the narrative. And if anybody wakes up to on the side of like Good Morning America, their whole script falls out the window. Because think about this. There has been no election or time in the past where I can think that families are no longer, it gives me chills and like honestly makes me somewhat emotional that like, because it really bugs me. Like I really love this country and I really want people to be happy. Like, can you remember a time where families are not going to come together at Thanksgiving this year because of fucking a president? Like, let that sink in.
It's crazy. It's so ridiculous, man.
Oh.
What do you guys think about the whole thing on the far end of the QAnon thing that JFK Jr. is still around and is going to appear?
What,
you lead.
I love this theory. I know it's far-fetched, but I love it.
Okay, I'm like,
oh, Vincent Fuchsia. Oh, man.
No, okay.
Good old Vince.
It is funny that Trump said the thing about having to, what did he call them? What was the name he used for them? Undercover operatives.
Yeah, today. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I was
you.
like,
You're really on it. That was just leaked today. Good for you. No, really, like just like 2 hours ago, I just saw it.
I was like, okay, so that was interesting.
And only 2 of them in the crowd, he said, right?
2,
sorry.
What an interesting number. I'm just saying.
Yes, I mean, that just makes me.
And after people have been going ham on exposing this, right?
Yeah.
Even to the point of, I think, I'm going to go so far as saying that JFK is still alive. How about that?
Whoa.
Okay, whoa. Hang on.
Whoa. The plane crash can be
eyebrows.
Fake.
What?
Fake the assassination, the headshots. Oh my God.
I mean, we've been making movies since 1888. I'll remind you that the first motion picture was filmed then. So if we're going to the moon and faking 9/11, do you think it's far-fetched to have someone go like this from far away with a grainy camera on the grassy knoll and fire a blank cartridge out of a 7.62 rifle 6 stories up?
I like where you're going with it. I just, for me, I like it because it makes JFK Jr. so much more passionate to stop all these bastards because they did that to his father. So it takes away the origin story from my narrative.
RFK has acknowledged that he's alive. Have you guys seen that video?
No. You have to share that.
Again, go to my page. I dropped that one last night or the other day, just a day or so. But like, yeah, he was doing a live on Instagram with I don't know who, and somebody keyed in several times. Touch your nose if JFK Jr. is still alive, and boom, and smiled and winked. Thank you.
Wait, it said JFK Jr.
is still alive. Yeah.
Okay, but that was
by RFK Jr.
Right. And I know, and it was
or RFK, excuse me. Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy. He's the one who he's the big activist for like vaccines and whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And against 5G. Is it Children's Defense or something like that? I don't know. But yeah, Robert Fitzgerald, RFK. Absolutely. And
yeah, I know what video you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. And then I posted another one, which is at these rallies. Just recently, Trump is like going in to get this man. He's like the oldest living survivor from I don't know what. And I put a picture up where it's JFK and him, this old man right there just the other day, I have chills as I'm saying it, really. Facial structure is identical. Teeth, lips, I mean, you can't make it up.
Dude,
you can't make it up. So,
world is so much more interesting when you look into it. I think Eddie Bravo said that.
You get me, Willie, all squirmy, almost knocked over the salt lamp.
He said that we basically live in Game of Thrones if you pay attention, and it's true, man. If you watch Game of Thrones, there's a lot of backstabbing. There's a lot of leadership trying to screw each other over, and that's what our world is, and we live in that world. Our world is very entertaining if you pay attention.
Oh, I mean, I'm starting to believe that we're in the Matrix, honestly.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff. And then the reversals that we're getting on policy and directives from CDC and whatever, which I don't give them any bit of credence, but I just think it's funny for those who do. And they're literally leading people, boom, 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 and they're going with it, and and they continue to be like, well, they just said it. It's like 1 year, red wine is good for you, and next it's not. Like, they used to do that all the time. I remember when I was younger, my mom 1 year, like, oh, they just said red wine was good for you. Good, I can have my red wine.
They've done that with eggs, too, since I was a kid. They've gone back and forth with eggs.
Yes.
Yep.
So, whatever serves their purposes, you know. Sometimes, go ahead.
I'm so glad Angelita led us to you, man. You're an awesome guest, and I'm excited about having you in our web of contacts.
You're kind.
This is awesome.
Hopefully you don't think I'm fucking nuts. A lot of people do.
I love it.
But Jesus, man.
But you know, but what you were saying too before about there's like if you go to one of these Trump rallies, freedom rallies, whatever it is, like Save the Kids, whatever it is, you can't type the crowd. And I would say the same is on these Black Lives Matter marches. I think if you look out into the crowd of Black Lives Matter, you're not going to really be able to type the crowd as far as an ethnicity goes. Like, they look like they're all different colors on both sides. And I feel like that really just illustrates that it's an ideology difference. It's not a race. You know what I mean? And that's what keeps blowing my mind is it's like, I'm like, we're still saying the Black Lives Matter thing, but it kind of seems like it's a pretty even shakeup. I don't know.
Totally.
It all loses its weight when you see a white idiot Black Lives Matter protester yelling at a black cop in his face, or her face. It's so stupid. Like, what are you doing?
And how about more African American police officers have died in the past 5 months than did last year?
Yeah.
And all through the means of freaking BLM. It is the grandest level of hypocrisy I've ever heard of in my life. And the guy who lost his baby girl through the shots that were fired. I mean, come on. Yes. Just disgusting.
I was thinking of her too when we were going into this. You know what? So I had taken a photo of my daughter. The day before that happened, we were out walking, and I had taken a photo of her, and she was wearing a little purse, crossbody, and the photo of Sequoia was the same, wearing that little purse, and that just killed me. It was just too relatable. You know what I mean? I was just devastated, and watching her parents be interviewed. I mean, they couldn't even hardly speak. Their words were hardly even coming out, and I can only imagine. You know what I mean? It was was so horrible. I mean, I was like, come on.
As a parent, it's hard to watch this stuff. Honestly,
so hard.
It's ridiculous. And last night there was this disenfranchised individual who was shot and killed by the police in San Clemente just the other day. And I went down to their rally, protest, whatever you want, that they had to honor his life. And I truly don't understand it, because none of them have any idea of what the facts are. Sorry, my wife is texting me. Have any idea what the facts are. This guy wasn't just shot because of police brutality. He didn't listen to police orders, to police instructions, resisted arrest on multiple occasions. They gave him so many opportunities to just stop, and he wouldn't. And what happened when they eventually tried to I don't want to say arrest, but at least detain him for whatever they were, going to do moving forward? The guy brawls with them and goes for the gun. So of course they have to shoot him, right? So totally a justified use of self-defense on the part of the officer, and use of force, if we can say, but definitely self-defense, because the guy armed himself. It was no longer just a brawl. And to go back, all these people are coming down last night to go honor this man and whatever and speak out about police brutality and our lives matter. And literally the girl's saying, I have the video, they're killing us. They're killing you. Listen to what you're saying. No, they're not killing you, us, whatever. No. They had the right to do what they did. But in the interim, you guys are so worried about Black lives, quote unquote. What about it's either like a 19.4, 22.1, somewhere in there. I can't remember the statistic exactly. Million Black babies that have been aborted since 1973, since Sanger started committing like incredible genocide against the African-American population. What are they doing about that? Like literally, it would be like 20% of the population. Exactly.
Choice. There's no choice. That's a lack of choice that brings people there. That's what that is.
Well, yeah, but exactly. But the point is like the focus is all off. And like, if we want to have an impact and if we really care about Black lives, quote unquote, and which I don't believe that there is systemic racism, that is just a misuse of the slogan. Are there racists in the world? Yes. Are there idiots? Yes. There always will be. There always will be. But not on a systemic scale where policies are in place and whatever. It is just preposterous. But the point is, as I said, is like the focus is so misguided. And if somebody wants to make an impact, go show up in front of all these fucking Planned Parenthoods. It's not Planned Parenthoods. It's planned mutilation and death. You cannot get any, what is it? Prenatal care, right? Is that what it's called? You're a mother. Prematernal care, whatever it is. At any of these places. It's just abortion clinics. They just kill and harvest body parts. So like they want to make a difference. They want more Black people running around this country. Then go shut down the Planned Parenthoods. All I really have to say. In the interim, this like false narrative of statistics being used against police. And as you say, for them to spit in Black police officers' faces, these white girls, they're like 16-year-old white chicks. Let's be fair. It's insane. And they don't even know what they're talking about. It's just ridiculous. And they're the true racists because as we say, right, like what comes out of us is the truest expression of what's inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Whatever.
And how are we not talking about all these peace and everything that like, it's like, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. Like we're just, he just gets no credit at all for that. And then, also I know a lot of Christians, and I know how much you love when we start talking about God over here. I know a lot of Christians are voting for Biden because they hate Trump so much, and they feel like that. There's a woman from my church that posted this article from Christianity Today, and it was about like why Christians absolutely could not vote for Trump. And she said, like, remember, like you are going to stand in judgment before like God. And I was like, holy shit. Like, Jesus. I was like, good Lord. I was like, first of all, remember, like Jesus is on the throne no matter who wins, no matter who you vote for, and your brothers and sisters in Christ are still your brothers and sisters in Christ, no matter who they voted for. Like, whoa, bro, like you are not just going to start tearing down people's salvation now over their.
That's what they do. They attack you 100%.
But it's like, I'm like, okay, but while we're on that note, Trump said that he will safeguard the eternal truth that every child born and unborn is made in the image of God. I will always protect the vital role of religion and prayer in American society, and I will always defend the sacred right to life. Today, I am announcing that I will be signing the Born Alive Executive Order to ensure that all precious babies born alive, no matter their circumstances, receive medical care that they deserve. Holy cow. How controversial. A baby born alive, he's not going to just let them just die. Like,
controversial.
I mean, I'm like, is there anybody that's like on the fence on that one? I'm like, even if you're pro-abortion, we're talking about babies born alive. Like, you should maybe give them a little like high five. They survived an abortion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, baby, give them a shot.
Awesome. That's the best thing I've heard all day.
I just can't believe that.
No. Because this is where it's got, and this is why I'm reacting like this. Because I'm going to speak really freely. It is so fucking dumb that like you have to laugh because it's so ridiculous. Like really, like that's what it's come down to. Like you got to high five the baby coming out of the womb because it survived the abortion. I mean, it's ridiculous. This lady the other day talking about how it's not my right if I don't want a baby inside of me. Well, what? How about you just don't have sex? Like, what are we talking about? And then you're going to kill the baby?
Plan B now. They even gave you a backup plan if you made an oopsie poopsie. They're like, don't worry, we got it's like
I can't stand it. It's disgusting. And here I'm going to go back to, because as I say, you don't know whether to laugh or cry. So I was laughing, now I'm crying. Like I'm sure you do too, and you two gentlemen do as well. Like so many friends or family members or somebody you know who has struggled and like been on their knees praying for the ability to conceive, right? Or like have a child. And then there are these people just flippantly, honestly, just offing them when they're given this incredible ability to conceive. And for those that have, what about those who have been raped? Well, I feel bad for the rape victim, but I'll tell you what. Sorry, brother, I apologize. I'll tell you what. I met plenty of people who are very, very close friends of mine that are beautiful souls that were the result of a rape. So this is where like my personal belief system comes in. Like, thank you. Exactly. Like seriously though, like we have to trust God's plan. I believe in Jesus Christ, in Christ's plan. And like, we know not his ways. And like, he works through all situations in ways that we know not, but it's all for his glory and all for his good. And there's no better demonstration of that than such a vile act as for someone to take advantage of a woman, but then for such a beautiful thing to come out of it as, you know, like a competent individual, a beautiful soul who's like striving for his family, which I'm speaking firsthand of like an individual that I'm thinking of. You see what I'm saying? So like, the problem is the focus of the left is about the self, the individual rights and like self-determination. And it tends to be that the conservative mindset is more about truly focus on God, right? So like your godly purpose and about the benefit of others first and foremost. And that's the difference. You really put others first in Christianity, right? Like you're willing to cut your own needs short in order to serve somebody else's. But when you're focusing on your own needs, namely in the sense of this abortion shit, like then you don't focus on the needs of the child. And how could you dismiss a life, whether small or large? I don't know. Right. So there you go. And that's highly demonstrative of everything that's going on.
But even to say like, when people say like, you know, if they, you know, mom can't afford it. People say that there's that the circumstances for that child are not ideal, and so that's another reason. And I'm like, well, what about the kids that overcame circumstances? And like, that's right. And like what you said, like God's ways are higher. We don't know his ways, but that's really just that's taking away my included. Like I came from that. I mean, who came from the ideal circumstance? You know what I
mean? Nobody. And, oh my gosh.
Tell me about your ideal background. I'd love to hear about it. You know, like it's like, so we're just going to start offering people because it's just not going to be the ideal upbringing. And then where do we stop? You know what I mean? That's like, I think that's the problem too, is like, we're just not viewing it as like the reality of what it is. You know, it's just like your convenience, you know, offing someone. That's it. Like, and so let's go with people that have disabilities and elderly people while we're at it. Like, why stop there? If we're just trying to streamline society and just have it, then there's like a whole homeless man on Wilshire. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I think people are misguided about this whole opportunity thing and how like background and circumstance has significance as it relates to life outcome and also, intrinsic happiness. I'm gonna stop now. Of course, when I start talking. Thanks, guys. That sucks. Lifeguard. So someone's gonna go get rescued. And the cops to follow it. It's never good around here.
Making the episode more intense.
Oh, there you go. I mean, appropriately
it's really realistic. Sound effects and everything.
There you
Start
go.
running to make it more dramatic.
Oh, shoot. I'll fall on my face. I got to stay alive to get out of here when shit goes down. But so the point is, you know, this whole conversation about like Joe Biden talking about, you know, this famous quote there about like less privileged kids and shit can't be as smart as white kids or some whatever the fuck it is. None of that has anything to do with anything. And especially as it relates to like happiness and intrinsic like end game opportunity. And what people need to understand is that if you look at it as like a percentage basis of the subset. So like super wealthy people to like middle income. Hold on. Middle income. I could tell you, the people at the top
you guys,
who have
he's always first on the scene.
Yeah, ridiculous. Thank you. 100, like the guys who have like the literally billionaires and whatever, they are freaking miserable. So I will posit to everybody that they shouldn't so much be looking at the opportunity and whatever else for their happiness, so much as they should look for it in their specific circumstance, right? And everybody's become so misguided on this goal of, on this objective of success and attainment, that they don't look for happiness in the things where happiness truly exists, right? Like in the non-capitalistic sense. So where it relates to like family and whatever like personally motivates you and brings you fulfillment, like helping others. And that's where they've skewed this narrative to turn us all against ourselves. So the white against the black, the rich neighborhood against the poor neighborhood. And what nobody realizes in a specific moment, but over their lives they understand, is that we all go through ups and downs. And that statistically, like I did my MBA at Notre Dame, statistically, if you study society, at one point or time in their lives, over 80% of society will be a millionaire, whether through some like inheritance or whatever. And the same number will become bankrupt. So we all go through our ups and downs, and it's just a balance. And we just have to have respect for where we start, where we end. And this is all like some spiritual experience that we come into to learn, right? And like you have to have contrast. You have to have hell in order to know heaven. You have to know good in order to know bad. And people just need to understand that and stop pointing the finger at each other for some preconceived bias, notion of some bias which doesn't exist. As I said, systemic racism doesn't exist. We all love each other. I don't know any white person that doesn't have a black friend, or black person doesn't have a white friend. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all exaggerated and stupid. And so, of course, QAnon, to get back to it and tie it into this, is attacked because it's a loving movement, which truly is inclusive, and that defeats the system. And again, I believe in Trump, but I don't believe in the party system. Like, defeats the system which has been created in this country, which is to pin the citizens against themselves in order for political means and for corporate means, very simply. And so you have this swaying back and forth of the Democrats and the Republicans, where they use one another to create policy and to create societal rifts, which end up putting them in power. And here we are. Now we're all controlled by all of them with these freaking health mandates, which they rammed down our throats and actually codified its law a couple of years ago, prepping for all this COVID bullshit. So this has all been planned, and we're all now reaping the beautiful benefit of all that. The seeds have been sown, and it's extremely dismaying, and it's just sad because all you have to do is look at the mask. It's like a yellow star.
Absolutely.
Man.
I'm glad I'm already drinking. Some heavy stuff, man.
I saw someone in the Palisades wearing a bedazzled mask today, and
oh my God!
You know, that's, that's the thing. Is they've got the Hollywood thing, and isn't that just like what the Greeks did with their Greek gods? Right? They erected their storylines, like their love affairs and all their drama, right? And had that. Like that's
true.
who they propped up for, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of like how the celebrities are, like they're just like
early theater.
Prop these, you know.
They're all puppets. They're all bot.
And they're, you know, we've got.
What are you guys doing about the mask there? I know it's a lot more strict than California. Are y'all wearing them when you have to, or are you busting out a card saying you don't have to?
Look, it's all fake. Like they violate our civil rights. It's actually a criminal act to tell someone what to do when wearing a mask. So the problem is they own the justice system, and to bring these things forward is extremely challenging. But at the end of the day, it's absolutely illegal. It violates civil rights. You do not have to, it violates your right to privacy to have like your temperature taken wherever you go. It violates, if you do have them, religious beliefs, which I do. And like, I'm not going to be led to live in fear. It's all preposterous. When you look at civil rights laws and like access laws for public spaces, it violates all of it. You can't tell someone what to do. You can't. So everybody needs to go to.
It has to come to a point to where, I mean, they tell you where it's like, well, you can't come in here. Then do you just go somewhere else?
You go somewhere else, but then you have to do your part.
No, he does not wear them.
Yeah, no, I don't wear them at all. No, I first of all have medical conditions which exempt me from all this bullshit. No, everybody does.
Me too.
But like, no, I don't. No. Walk in. Nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you. And if they want to deny you in the future, then you file a complaint with the Department of Justice for a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Very simply. So, there's all sorts of loopholes, but unfortunately they made everybody think that mandates are law. They're not law. I wonder if there's one of these signs around here. They got rid of a lot of them.
Yeah, there's signs up all over our place too, but I just go in and they usually don't say anything. Once in a while, hey, you can have a mask, you can't be in here. And it's like, see you later.
Oh, yeah, no, but they have huge yellow ones here that say you must wear a mask. It's the law.
This is my go-to
they
gesture.
Have them painted on the sidewalk.
Your go-to gesture.
I go like this. I'm like, no, I got a medical condition.
Good
and I just
for
keep
you,
walking.
bro. I love it.
I taught my brother that one too. Somebody challenged him on it recently.
How do you do up in LA? Do you said, well, you said that you clarified you do some when you have to for your daughter and whatever. I don't do it at all. Everybody looks at me like I'm fucking crazy. Some people say hi, thank me.
Yeah, I don't.
Like whatever. I'm always the only one.
Man, no, it's getting really old. It's the thing that I'm stressed about, and I honestly I've been praying a lot about, I don't want my daughter wearing a mask to school, and our school situation is that we worked really hard to get her into a school, and she's doing the distance learning thing right now, which is going better than what I expected. I'm enjoying the time with her, and they didn't go psycho on the Zoom, so it's still pretty free.
How old is she?
But as far as her having 6.
Got it.
And as far as her having to go to school to wear a mask and social distance, I cried when I saw
child abuse.
A town hall meeting, and they showed where they had it was like a hula hoop of toys that were spaced out so kids cannot play with another kid in this little hula hoop. And I'm like, she's in a camp right now where she goes, no mask, no social distancing, every little lady that runs, it's great, and it's kind of like a down low, underground kind of word of mouth type thing, because the lady doesn't want to deal with any
regulation
that are all, Yeah, and she's not trying to please the parents, and she's like, these kids are coming. I talked to her for a long time. She's been doing this for over 20 years, so she's not just doing this now.
Right.
But as far as right now in the season, her offering this, and she said that these kids, she's like, they're coming with PTSD. Some of these kids,
of course.
I honestly, where I'm at has probably got to be the worst of it. Down where you are in Orange County, there's such a different community down there. But where I'm at, I'm telling you, there's people.
Oh no, these people are fucking nuts.
Not anywhere, seen one, nothing. They wear masks, social distance. My daughter hasn't had to do all that, but she's been isolated because her friends or parents are all, scared. She has one friend from, before that she could get together with, but everyone else was seriously locked down. And these kids are traumatized. She's a lot of them have anger, and I'm I can only imagine. We've been able to call, text, complain, to a friend or get online, whatever. We have all the different ways, of how we're handling it. And then these little ones, they just got plucked out of their school year. And, for her, she, I said this last time, you guys are probably so sick to hear my story, but my baby had to leave her school that she's been going to her whole, it was her last year there. Her friends were all dispersed into their new schools, and that's a big deal in her little world. And she's on the mild end of things, as far as how, you know what I mean?
Yes.
She doesn't have this big
it's disgusting
story,
all this.
that, she has all these things inside, and so all these kids, and like I said, I'm talking about kids that have an ideal home environment, And even they're full of frustration and anger, you know what I mean, and confusion and all that stuff. And you know, I can only imagine the kids that are, you know, going through harder things at home.
And it like teaches them that if you get near other people, you're going to get sick. It teaches them to avoid other people, to not have relationships and social, you know, social
teaching fear,
things like that. Yeah, social. Yeah, you need to avoid people. You're going to get sick, or something bad's going to happen to you, and it's terrible.
Yeah, we're crippling them at a very young age for no reason.
We're depriving them of their innocence, like totally indoctrinating them with fear. They're literally doing modules of like, be safe with masks and whatever. And mine, 5 and 7, so starting kindergarten, starting first grade, and I'm French, so like I have a very different view on health and whatever else than the typical American does, right? I'm not saying this to be critical, it's just reality. And so when this whole thing started, I was praying that we would go back to in person, you know, no mask, cool. It didn't happen. Because again, Newsom needs all this to do his mask bullshit, so it didn't happen. And so they're like, all right, we're going to do remote learning. In Europe, in France specifically, it is illegal, not just like not recommended, it is illegal for children in schools to have cell phones or electronic devices to be used like for learning or anything else. And the point I'm trying to make is that when I figured out that my kids were going to be using iPads and whatever else as their, you know, primary means, I threw a fit. And so I got out of that. But they're like, well, maybe you should do the first day, just figure it out. Okay. So I picked up their iPad. My son's 5-year-old kindergarten, 52 applications on the iPad. That's the only way they teach these children. My daughter, the Chromebook at 7 years old, the systems that she had to navigate in order to get like the assignments, the modules, all of this. I mean, more complicated than the stuff I did when I ran dealerships for Mercedes-Benz. And for children to be learning on these screens, like a 2D environment, devoid of contact and real social interaction, where you're being forced to leave the cameras on full time. It's, I mean, again, it's child abuse. It is psychological abuse. And for them to learn on a 2D plane when we're operating on a 3D one is just terrible developmentally, especially at an early age. And so I pulled mine out. They're not going to do anything. We're homeschooling. And like, I refuse to teach them on iPads and all this. The radiation is terrible for those children. And there you go. She's speaking to it firsthand, that after what? How long have your kids been in school? A month? Something like that at most? Like, they're already having health issues. I mean, this is crazy for our kids to be having a mental health crisis from seriously, from a 5 to like 12 years old right now is deeply concerning. Right. And as I said, they stop the parents, and the mothers are not even doing anything about it. And that's when you know you got a real issue, when the mothers are not speaking up. And they have really done a good one on this country. And there's some highfalutin, empowered individual who truly engineered all of this. And I've said this before, who is laughing his ass off that everybody is running around like a bunch of dumbasses with their masks on and stuff. And their kids are sitting in cubicles with freaking plexiglass in between them, and same thing at the gas station. I mean, it makes no freaking sense. Mm-hmm. I can't even. It makes me angry. Like, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I can only handle so much. Like, it's preposterous. I'm being so serious. Like, I can't. Yeah. It's so overwhelming. And the point is, as you said, like,
screen thing, that's like
what happens at the election time. Like, this is not going to end.
Thing that we talked about with
Let's
with
wrap
the
it up.
eggs or whatever, right? Like how they bounce it back and forth. Like how haven't we been told screens were bad for the kids? Like,
it's terrible.
Too close to the TV, all that stuff.
Oh my God.
Like that they.
Let's go into the 6 questions.
And now we're like,
do it. And by the way, and look up the patents on screens where they can change your. First of all, MK Ultra is absolutely real, but they can change these kids.
Definitely.
Like mental balance through the frequencies that are produced by the screen, and they can cycle those up and down in like milliseconds. Like, parents need to wake up and like stop screen time. Please, God, stop. Like, the radiation is terrible for them. And why is the radiation bad? Because their skulls are thinner, and the electromagnetic frequency, those frequencies go straight through the blood-brain barrier, and it affects them developmentally. Like, gotta be crazy. But 6 questions. What's 6 questions? I'm interested by this.
Yeah, I need to know more about that because I knew it was bad, but I didn't know to that extent. That's really interesting.
Oh yeah.
So what we're going to do is we have 6 questions for the first-time guest, and we have 6 questions for the second-time guest. So I'm going to ask Chris a question, and then JP will ask Angelita her question. We'll go back and forth. So it'll be a different set of 6 questions for each one of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, are you ready?
I'm ready. Like Jeopardy.
Here we go, buddy. Number 1, you have the power to make one law. Which law do you create and why?
Whew. You have the power to create one law. Eradicate BLM. Eradicate BLM and all the narrative that's associated with systemic racism, and actually show people the truth about the Republican Party, what this country stands for, and what American ideals are. That's why I say you put God back in this country and you get rid of BLM. It's law number 1.
Oh, yeah.
Angelita, number 1, if you could time travel back and forth one time period, which one would you choose? It could be future or past.
It's a good one. I like you guys. Serious.
Yeah, I know. Because I know I've said so much time travel before. You know what? I'm going to say that I still really just have that special moment holding that bullet from the Revolutionary War. And I think it would be so cool to go back and that time period to see that. Like, I think it's...
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Look at this girl. Man, a real patriot. Look at that. Incredible.
Chris, you get those questions next time you come on.
All right, bro. Sounds good.
You get a sneak peek of what you're going to be asked next time.
I want to be in Colorado for it, though. Come visit.
There you go. Yeah, maybe you're welcome.
Come in studio, man.
That'd be awesome.
Love to.
Number 2, what 3 words would you choose to describe yourself?
Honest, passionate, and Christian.
Okay.
Those are very wholesome.
Yeah. All right, Angelita, number 2 for you. What's an unusual pet peeve of yours?
Oh, easy. Noises. It's so bad. Man. I'm noise sensitive. It's
you and I both.
Something life disrupting.
My sister is like that. She's got a serious case of it.
You have that as well?
Totally.
It's not fun. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
I just told my daughter today, I'm like, will you stop with the noise with your lips? I can't. You're reminding me of my grandfather. I swear to God.
Oh.
That's actually a condition now. Y'all know that?
Still? Huh?
There's actually a condition for that now that they've labeled it, because my sister has it, and I grew up sharing a room with her because I had 2 brothers that shared the other room. So I was living in fear my whole childhood because she's so sensitive to noise. Anytime I made a weird noise, she had to get attacked or punched. My Ninja Turtle posters torn up, everything.
He's so phony at it.
Yeah, there it is.
That's awesome.
Yes.
You guys have a real condition you're dealing with.
Triggers a fight or flight reaction.
Yeah. It sounds rough. I don't have it for sure. My sister is miserable with it, so I feel for you guys. Number 3, Chris, what do you want to be remembered for?
Standing for truth.
Perfect. That checks out.
What was my answer?
What's that, Angelita? What'd you say?
Do you remember what my answer was to that question?
I don't. Not offhand. I have to think about it. What was it?
It was being a truth seeker.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
God love you. There you go.
Isn't she great?
Can't make it up. Can't make it up. God works in mysterious ways.
All right, Angelita, number 3 for you. When you were a kid, what did you want to become as an adult?
Oh,
man. Besides a Power Ranger. No, I wanted a teacher. I wanted to be a history teacher.
History teacher.
I was actually a teacher's aide and a teacher's cadet for my history teacher, and I babysat his kids. I was really into history.
That explains the Civil War thing.
Yeah.
Or the Revolutionary War, excuse me. You said.
Now we had a history teacher not too long ago. Would you teach the curriculum or would you teach true history?
True history, and he was great. He did, and he was I actually just messaged him. I don't think he uses Facebook, but I randomly searched him out on Facebook because I wanted to get his take on the political climate now. I was like, I would love to know what his thoughts are about everything. Like, I'd like to know where he landed. I remember he got mad at me when I talked about the moon landing thing being fake. Like, he was not happy with that, but he would come in with his like harmonica and his guitar, and he would, you know, he was cool. He was cool. I liked him a lot.
Truly can't believe that people think we want to.
Yeah, that one I'm kind of like, you know, really?
Yeah.
On the power of a Timex, guys. Come on. With tinfoil. Thank you very much. Get out of here.
We got rid of the fans because they were old.
Unbelievable. I mean, whatever. Keep on going.
Number 4, what is something you like that most people don't know about you?
What is something I like that most people? One of my biggest passions is like racing, like being on a racetrack, like racing cars on like a racetrack.
That's awesome.
That's JP's world.
Yep. That's
really?
what I wanted to be as an adult, a race car driver of some sort. Probably rally. I would love to do rally.
Oh, bro, we'd get along because that's, for sure. That and like skiing is my biggest passion. So between those two, for sure. I started skiing when I was 2.
Skiing?
Both, but like really snow skiing. Skiing.
Cool. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll have to come out if the world is still spinning in December and God gives me a little bit of money, come out and visit you guys and we'll chill and go skiing.
That's all here.
Fast and the Furious 12 starring JP and Chris.
I like it. Patriots unite.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4, if you were going to be stranded on an island and you had the chance to bring one thing with you, what would you choose?
Oh man.
You can't wait to come on again, huh, Chris?
Did you hear my answer?
No.
Oh,
I said my Bible.
Okay.
Oh, powerful.
Love it. That's good.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with that. Number 5 for Chris. If you could have any superpower, which would you choose and why?
I would choose to have the power I have to think of how to word this properly for 1 second.
Okay. I apologize for not giving you a heads up on these questions either.
No, it's cool. I
everyone
know the answer.
Listening, he's getting this from the hip right now.
No, it's cool. It's I just want to like articulating things properly.
Well, hang on. Think about it. I don't want to rush you. Let's ask Angelita her last question, and you can come back to it.
You're cool.
She's got 2 more questions.
Oh, 2 more? We'll give her the next one.
Okay, number 5.
I don't want to rush him.
If someone was going to make a movie about you, which actress would you choose to play you? Or an actor, I guess, if that's how you want to be portrayed. It's up to you.
Oh, that's a really good one. You know what? I'm so out of the loop with Hollywood, but when I was bartending, I always got told that I looked like that girl Alicia Cuthbert from Girl Next Door. And I feel like she's kind of like not so much in the scene or whatever, and I feel like she's got like I would pick her. I think that's who comes to mind.
Do a good job of portraying you.
That's why I pick her.
Yeah, I can see it in like the eyes and the nose area. There's something similar there for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, minus the porny stuff. You know what I mean?
I knew it was coming. I was waiting for it. Something like some actor or actress that was like related to Save the Children, you know? Like adrenochrome junkie. That's who I look like.
I should have picked Blake Lively. Can I redo and go back to Blake Lively?
I love Blake Lively.
There you go.
She's amazing. She's so good. I want it to be Blake Lively.
Yeah, that works too.
But
you resemble her. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go with Blake Lively. That's cool.
Okay, we'll go back. Redo.
All right, you had enough time, Chris. You better have a great answer.
I gave you 2.
Oh man, for my superpower, I would want to be able. It's hard to put into words, man. And like I would just want to be able to impart people with the open-mindedness to accept truth and love. Very simply.
That's
What do you
interesting.
mean? What do you mean by that? Like, how would that work? Like, you could trigger people to open their minds and hearts, kind of thing.
Yeah, like I would like envision like zapping them, right, with like a cloud of, or like some energy, and like release the bond that has been put on people's souls by like the devil, honestly. Because
yeah, okay.
that's what it comes down to, is just like we're talking about, the bring it back full circle, like talking about being a conversation, like how can people not look past the narrative, you know, and like question truth and like want to seek truth. It's this like darkness and this lack of acceptance for oneself. It's truly a lack of love, because only when you truly like love and accept yourself can you say, hey, I was wrong and I need to move forward and like change my opinion. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like when you hate yourself and you hold yourself to the standard and don't accept yourself for who you are as like a changing being, that's when you become cold. And so I would love to like break people free from that. Like I've been there, right? But I would love to break people free from that darkness and that despair and that lack of hope. Doesn't mean I know everything, but that's what I want people to be able to do, is just like be able to have a conversation, honestly.
That's
and
awesome,
that comes with
man.
an open-mindedness.
That's a different answer. Most people just go with like invisibility or fly or something.
That's a powerful answer.
I like it.
Yeah, you're kind.
He's like, I'm trying to dissolve mental barriers.
I can't do anymore. But like, that's always been my MO. It's like very loving. Like I told you, I can't see people getting taken advantage of. I come from deep family of like family-owned businesses and stuff. And like, I take social responsibility very seriously, whether corporate or otherwise. And now I'm no longer linked to the corporate side, but you know, societally, absolutely. Like that's our God-given duty. All of us is to stand up for each other in the name of truth and in the face of adversity. And that's what everybody has laid down right now, is the desire to stand for truth and the courage to stand against what's wrong. So here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Amen, brother.
All right, last question for you, Angelita. What's the best advice you've been given? Yeah, it's a hard one too. What is the best advice? What is the best advice you've been given?
Aside from follow Jesus with all your heart, mind, and soul.
Love her.
Okay. You know what? I've had people give me little nuggets of wisdom, like, you know, fortunately, like, I'm so blessed. Like, you know, you just had those random people that you just got something from. When I was bartending, I was 19, there was a girl that I was working with that was a few years older than me. And she was talking about how she had, like, gone to a movie or whatever by herself. And I remember me and some of the girls that were younger, you know, we were like, what? You went by yourself? And she was like, yeah. And she said that she'd go to eat by herself. And for that was just that was like, I can't believe that you did that. And she was like, you have to do that.
Oh, we lost you for a second. You have to repeat that last sentence. Or last two sentences.
She'll come back.
Angelita.
Oh, she's really frozen.
It's the goons. They took over the feed.
Powerful. Yeah. Broke the internet.
Angelita.
I thought they wanted us to be.
There she is.
Sorry.
You got to repeat your answer.
Can you hear me okay?
Got cut out.
Yep.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
You're back.
So anyway, I just remember I finally had like a night off from work when it had been a couple years. I had never done it. And I was like, it was a Tuesday night and I wanted to see the new Bruce Willis movie, like Into the Red. And I went and got myself a big popcorn and Dr. Pepper and took myself to see it. And I had the best time. But what she was saying is like spending time with yourself.
Yeah.
And enjoying it. And that is what, and it, like, it was really good advice because I think it led to like, it, you know what I mean? It's one of those, it's a gift that keeps on giving. And it was, so I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. And it does make sense. People do need time to themselves. And I remember my wife one time was like, hey, do you have a show to go do or something? Cause you know, I just want to be, you know, I need my alone time. And I was, you know, kind of offended. It's like, what, you know, what did I do? Sorry. You know, and she's just like, no, I just need time for myself. I'm like, okay, I get that. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Very important.
It's good for you. It really is super good for you.
Yeah, but some people really struggle with it.
I was going to say an inappropriate joke, but I'll be classy.
My wife is talking about.
I was like, well, why she call me over? I don't get it.
Oh, Sancho.
We're dirty. I'm sorry. We're better than that. All right, Chris, last question for you, number 6. If you can know the absolute truth on one conspiracy theory, which would you choose?
The absolute truth on one conspiracy theory? I would want to know how and who is actually leaking this information. I would love to know that, because it is an absolutely positive, well-intended movement. I don't care what anybody says. And there's just something there that is bigger than anything that I can figure out. And I would love to know what it is. I really would. And if it's my boy, DJ T, come on, man. Trump 2020.
I'm gonna break the news right now, guys. I've been texting with JFK Jr. and it's him. You heard it here first.
You got good old Vincent Fuchsia over there.
He's got a sweet ass suit. He's gonna show it on October. The end of October, he's gonna have a presentation, and he's gonna.
That's hilarious.
Rappel down.
How validating would that be for so many people?
He's so rad. That'd be so rad. I mean, why not? At this stage, why not? He might as well jump out of a B-2 bomber, you know? Like, it has been such a wild time recently. I can't even put it into words. Truly, though. What comes next?
We're going to be at we're not going to be there, but we're going to watch a Trump rally, and it's going to be going on, and they're going to pan over to a wingsuit. Guy coming in on a wingsuit. I'm like, what was that?
Really? That's rad. What's up, bro? Have a good night. God bless you.
It's JFK Jr.
Oh, man.
I hope.
That'd be
All
cool.
right, guys. Well, that concludes this episode. It's been a lot of fun. I think we are going to have to name it that stupid thing I said, because it was just all over the place, and that's what's good about this episode.
We covered everything, I think. I mean, abortion and everything.
Oh, yeah. We went
deep.
This
Speely.
Yeah, Freak Speely.
There it is. I love it. Yeah, that's it. I love it. Well, honored to know you guys. Appreciate the time collectively.
Yes,
yeah, it's good
absolutely.
to get to know you, man.
Thanks for doing this too.
Yeah, for sure.
Angelita, you're always welcome. Chris, you're always welcome back on. We'd love to have you back on, and this can be a regular thing. We're going to get you guys in our loop and keep bringing you back in. We'll have to make up more questions.
Yeah.
I love it. And Angelita, you stay safe up there. Really. Like,
Thank you. You guys have a good weekend.
Have a bug out plan ready, please. All right. Seriously.
Yeah.
Election time is going to get crazy. If I can leave anybody with that, like,
I know,
not a conspiracy theorist, but I think it would be unwise to not have some level of preparedness ready. And if you don't use it, go camping.
Sure.
That everybody listen, y'all really need to do that. You start stocking up on all the essentials that matter, because it's going to get crazy no matter who wins this election, or just at the end of it, it's going to get nuts for a while. So
for sure,
make sure you're ready to take care of your family.
Right.
And get on it, because I'm not trying to be arrogant here, but if you haven't started, you're way behind. Like, there are massive shortages on everything. And I just haven't seen, like, I'm not a radicalist by any means and never have been, but like, I've never seen these many types of like indicators, you know?
Yeah.
And it makes me uneasy because we can't trust these people right now. And by these people, I mean our leaders. I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about all the guys forcing these mandates down our throat and whatever else, and the cops that are arresting people for wearing muzzles. So, like, just be careful, because there are evil players at play. Oh, you know who we didn't bring up, which we must bring, is the asshole George Soros, who's funding all of this shit.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're listening and you don't fucking know, BLM is absolutely funded by George Soros, which, thank you, Donald J. Trump, for making his foundation international and therefore a terrorist organization. And for all those BLM who are happily donating money, congratulations. You all got played by the Democratic Party, and all those contributions that you made for to combat racism went directly to fund the campaign of Joe Biden, who's the biggest racist. So congratulations. Really good work. Anyway, I think that's how we end it. God bless you guys. Trump 2020. All right. Any of that. Question everything. Question everything.
Yeah. For everybody watching, Chris started in the sun, where it was nice sunset, or it was nice, pretty sunset. Now the sunset
Yeah.
is dark,
There
but
you
the
go.
sun will rise again, everyone. The sun
Oh.
will rise again.
Also, before you guys
Hey,
go,
there you go.
let our listeners know where they can find you and follow
Oh,
you.
yeah.
And
Thanks,
and,
JP.
Yes.
Forgot to do the plugs.
Ladies first, always.
Oh, you can find me on Instagram. That's where I'm at mostly. I got kicked off of Twitter and stuff. So I'm it's Angelita's Truth. I changed it so it's easier. It's Angelita's Truth.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you, good job on
Angelita.
changing that. Yeah, I think that's
Remember
better.
we had that convo? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Angelita Truth. I'll put you guys' links on here too. Where can we support you, Chris? Where can we find you?
My handle right now on Instagram is, I just changed it because of the Q freaking purge that's going on with these Facebook clowns. But
Right.
I changed it to GodSentMedia.
GodSentMedia. Perfect.
You capitalized the M too. I like that. Is that on purpose? I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's because before my name was Q Sent Media, and I had like the M and the E capitalized, so it was like Q Sent Me, but it was a play on the media, right?
Yeah.
And so this is the same thing where it's God sent me, but sending media through me, right? And so
Beautiful.
hopefully try and like motivate people and inspire others, et cetera, and just shed light on the truth, as I said. So there you go. I want people to like live fully in the truth. I've just come from a very privileged background, and like I know what's possible, and I want everybody to know that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a level of happiness that's associated with knowing that you can absolutely attain anything you want. And that is being suppressed both on a spiritual level and on like an economic level. And it's wrong. So that's what we're here to fight with the Q movement.
Awesome. Perfect. Keep doing it. You guys are both very important and doing a great thing. Thank y'all very much.
Thanks, guys. Likewise.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Until
Angelita,
next
good
time.
to see you. All right. Bye, JPD.
Good to keep up the